What's up, music lovers? Thanks for clicking on my channel. With Dream Theater's new album coming out this weekend, I figured now would be a great time to talk about my personal top 20 favorite songs from easily one of my all-time favorite bands. It might technically not be a top 20 though, it might be more like 24 or 25. You'll see what I mean as we go along. And before we get into it, if you like hard rock, heavy metal, progressive rock, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all of that YouTube stuff. I know, it's a cliche to ask, but it really does help the channel grow, so thanks in advance for that. And with all that out of the way, let's just get straight into it and start talking about some Dream Theater. Coming in at number 20 is On the Backs of Angels from A Dramatic Turn of Events. You have that incredible intro that just builds and builds until you get into that epic choir section. A great main riff for the verse, timely lyrics, and this song all in all was just a fantastic way to kick off the new era of Dream Theater after Mike Portnoy left. Coming in at 19 is Stream of Consciousness from Train of Thought. This is one of the best instrumental rock songs of all time. You have that droning 5/4 riff that Dream Theater just gets so much out of by developing that motif and just playing it in slightly different ways. I think that just re-listening to your songs over and over again and deciding what needs to change or how you can make something just a little bit better is what separates a good band from an amazing band, and Dream Theater is an amazing band. Okay, and coming in at number 18 is A View from the Top of the World from A View from the Top of the World. This is the latest epic Dream Theater song we've gotten, and man does it hold its own up against all their other epic length songs. You have great riffs, every single instrument has a moment to shine in the song, and I love the lyrics. I remember for 2 years straight doing full-time work, full-time school, working on a bunch of other stuff, and whenever I'd be driving back and forth from classes, which were about an hour away from my house, getting ready to go do a 9-hour shift when I got home, I'd be listening to this song to just keep myself motivated, keep myself pumped up. Okay, and coming in at number 17 is Metropolis Part 1, The Miracle and the Sleeper from Images and Words. We all know how great this song is, right? Like, I don't need to go into too much detail. Dun dun dun! This song is one of the first times that Dream Theater really felt like Dream Theater and they were coming into their own as songwriters. And James LaBrie's vocal performance, especially in the second verse where he just holds out that note unafraid, is absolutely god tier. Coming in at number 16 is Through Her Eyes from Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. This is such a beautiful song, and bringing Teresa Thomason in to sing vocals on it was a stroke of genius. Dream Theater really gets to show how much emotion they can play with, which all the technicality in the world doesn't mean anything if you can't also have feeling to your playing, and Dream Theater can do both. John Petrucci's solo and his fills in the second verse have so much soul in their vibrato and the way he bends into the note. Freaking incredible. Coming in at number 15 is The Shattered Fortress from Black Clouds and Silver Linings. This is the final and, in my opinion, best song from the 12-step suite. The way the song fades in is excellent as well. It really reminds me of Eye of the Beholder by Metallica. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the song that inspired that. Taking these riffs and slowing them down a bit just gives them a bit more weight and heaviness, and I love the little fills that Jordan Rudess is doing on the keyboard. Okay, so coming in at 14 is Breaking All Illusions and Far From Heaven from A Dramatic Turn of Events. I have to combine these two songs because they are basically just one gigantic song split into 2 tracks. It's such an epic way to end the album, even though I know it's not the last song on the album, it's still like the climax. I love the snare accents that Mike Mangini is playing for the chorus, and the Yes/Deep Purple keyboard sections are absolutely fantastic. I think the lyrics are pretty good too, and I like the subject matter they're tackling, so yeah, Breaking All Illusions and Far From Heaven, number 14. Coming in at number 13 is In the Name of God from Train of Thought. That main intro riff is relatively simple, but it's just so heavy and thunderous, and you got Mike Portnoy in the background just doing that like more straightforward 4/4 backbeat, and it just slaps. Then you go into that guitar and keyboard unison section, and I mean, I've listened to it like 1,000 times and it still boggles my brain every single time I listen to it. And the lyrics are great. You know, Dream Theater gets a lot of flack sometimes for their lyrics, and I'll admit sometimes they are a bit but lyrics like this are great, and I think they are more often than not pretty solid in the lyric department. Okay, and coming at number 12 is again another two-parter. That's Wait for Sleep and Learning to Live from Images and Words. Kevin Moore. That guy is such a fantastic keyboard player, and these two songs are probably the magnum opus of his time with Dream Theater. You have that beautiful ostinato that's set up in Wait for Sleep, and when it comes back in with the full band and Learning to Live, I think that this song set the framework for later songs like Far From Heaven and Breaking All Illusions or Vacant going into Stream of Consciousness, and Even though Learning to Live sometimes doesn't quite have the structure of those songs, I just think it has an energy and a unique quality to it. Okay, and coming at number 11 is Strange Deja Vu, and you might as well also toss in Regression and Overture 1928 from Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. I mean, I guess I could just say, oh, all of Metropolis Part 2, but I gotta draw the line somewhere. I love the intro to Strange Deja Vu, the way the whole band is just hitting the notes in unison. And John Petrucci's riffs in the second verse feel kind of like his take on an Eagles song or a song by Boston. Mike Portnoy's drumming is just sitting so well in the mix, and the way that James LaBrie chooses to have a falsetto voice for the chorus throws you off, but in a good way. Metropolis Part 2 is probably my favorite Dream Theater album. It's tough, but in any case, they just kick it off with such a bang. And coming at number 10 is The Dance of Eternity, also from Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. 132 time changes in a 6-minute long instrumental song. Fuck yeah. There's lots of bands that can do insanely technical things, but very few that can even get close to this level. And more importantly, Dream Theater is still able to do this insane virtuosity while also just having such great musicianship and energy in their playing. Despite how complicated it is, there's still a ton of memorable moments. One of my favorites being the part at 1 minute 45 seconds in where John Petrucci is just droning on the low string and Mike Portnoy decides to do this unbelievably heavy backbeat on the toms. It's jazz fusion prog metal godliness. Just so good, man. Okay, and coming at number 9 is Under a Glass Moon from Images and Words. The guitar tone for the intro of this song is absolutely amazing. I love the way that it captures a lot of the 1980s bombast while still very clearly being a prog metal song. I mean, that kind of sums up Dream Theater in general, but especially their early albums. And I have to mention that the guitar solo in the song is one of John Petrucci's most creative. Coming at number 8 is Panic Attack from Octavarium. You have a sick bass intro and the whole band comes in playing the riff. It's just so heavy. And although this song is heavy and has a ton of weight to it, it does really feel as though that Dream Theater is wearing their Yes and Genesis influences on their sleeve with this one. If you soften the song up a bit, it could have been a Genesis song from like, you know, And Then There Were Three or Wind and Weathering or Trick of the Tail. Coming in at number 7 is Finally Free from Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. This song has it all. The peaceful intro, the really smooth and effortless transition into the more ominous part, a super catchy vocal melody, and lyrics that are concluding the story to one of Dream Theater's best albums. The song builds up the tension incredibly well, and towards the end you just get Dream Theater jamming out for this really great riff. By the way, I should mention that this is the last song from Metropolis Part 2 on the list, so big honorable mention to The Spirit Carries On and pretty much every other song on that album. They were all like this close to being in my top 20, but it's Dream Theater. They got so many good songs. Coming at number 6 is Octavarium from Octavarium. Oh yeah, we're getting into the epics of epics with this song. 24 minutes long, and the first 4.5 minutes are basically a slide guitar intro. Oh, you know I'm gonna love that. When the clean riff comes in, I absolutely love the flute melody there, and it really is reminiscent of something like Rainbow Eyes off of Long Live Rock and Roll. When the tempo starts to pick up, you get these amazing synth leads, a super lush production that Dream Theater has never really had on any other songs, lyrics that are referencing a bunch of other songs from like the heyday of progressive rock, and just James LaBrie screeching on the climax of the song when you're just going, trapped inside this octavarium. The song is just genius, and what's not to love for prog nerds like me, and presumably you if you're watching this video. Okay, coming in at number 5 is As I Am from Train of Thought. This is the only song in the top 5 that is not over 10 minutes, and I guess doesn't qualify as being an epic song, but that doesn't matter because it's just Dream Theater saying, let's make a relatively simple, straightforward metal song and just rip everyone's faces off with it. That intro riff with the feedback from the guitars, that down, 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 so heavy. And I love that the lyrics of the song are just a gigantic fuck you to a certain guitar player who thought that he was capable of giving John Petrucci guitar lessons on how to write radio-friendly songs. To quote Al Pacino from The Irishman, how stupid can you be? Like seriously, what's going through your head where you think you can go up to John Petrucci and be like, hi, yeah, let me just talk to you and like, you know, show you how to write songs? I'd be pissed off too. I mean, John Petrucci, Mike Portnoy, they all seem like super humble guys, but Like, how do you not get what they're trying to do? Man, some people. Speaking of how much a guitar god John Petrucci is, the solo in this song is insanely difficult and technical, even by his standards. Ironically, this song shows that Dream Theater is perfectly capable of writing more straightforward metal songs and, I guess, radio hits. And when they decide that they're just gonna simplify things and just give you a straightforward heavy metal banger, you better get out of the way. Coming in at number 4 is Bridges in the Sky from A Dramatic Turn of Events. The intro to this song is incredible with the wind and the harp and the choir. You have the throat singing, and then that riff just comes out of nowhere and like punches you in the face. One of my favorite vocal moments is when James LaBrie plays with our expectations for the last part of the song. He goes down, where in the bridge he went up into a high note. And when I was re-listening to the song, just to brush up on this video, the line, "The piece of me that died will return to live again," really resonated with me. And for an 11-minute song, it goes by super fast. Coming in at number 3 is A Nightmare to Remember from Black Clouds and Silver Linings. Okay, yeah, I get it. People love to make fun of the Cookie Monster vocals. It's not Dream Theater's best moment. I don't care. I think they're fine, and I still love the song. This song is also the first Dream Theater song I ever heard, so it's always going to hold a special place in my heart for that. That intro and the way they develop that main melody throughout the song is absolutely incredible, and the beginning of the song is just so moody and so heavy, and I love that you can tell that Dream Theater was listening to more extreme subgenres when they wrote this song. I also think that this is another song that has really good lyrics, telling the personal story of a car crash that John Petrucci went through as a kid. I really consider these top 3 songs to just sort of be the quintessential Dream Theater songs, and if someone had never heard them before, I'd probably say listen to this, or more likely the next song on this list, to just kind of understand what they're all about. Okay, and coming in at number 2 is The Count of Tuscany from Black Clouds and Silver Linings. This song is one of the most epic songs ever recorded, all time, period. The intro is absolutely beautiful, especially with John Petrucci's solo, and when it kind of picks up, I think it's switching between 6/8, 8/8, 9/8, but it just has such lift to it, and the intro of The Count of Tuscany is just perfection. I say the intro, but honestly the entire song. I've been lucky enough to see this masterwork performed 2 times live, and both times, every single person in the crowd was singing along to every single word. One of my friends described this song as the closest a song has gotten to a cinematic experience, but I respectfully disagree, because for me, the closest a song has ever gotten to a cinematic experience is, coming at number 1 is In the Presence of Enemies, Part 1 and Part 2 from Systematic Chaos. I mean, you knew this song was going to be on the list, right? Like, this is absolutely incredible, and it's got to be both parts. They're one song split into 2 separate tracks. That's the whole reason I made that rule, where I'm like, yeah, whatever, we'll have 25, 26 songs, I don't care. In the Presence of Enemies Part 1 and 2 have to be number 1. It's almost like it's a 25-minute movie that tells the story of someone selling their soul, committing atrocities, and then finding redemption at the last possible moment. Pretty metal. The technicality on the song is off the charts, even by Dream Theater standards, but so is the emotion, the musicality, and just the songwriting and the structure and the arrangement of it. The song's just filled with moments that are just like chef's kiss, like, yeah. I think these are Dream Theater's most evocative lyrics. They do such an amazing job of just painting a picture in your head, especially in the beginning of Part 2. Some of my favorite lyrics right there. It's almost a half an hour long song, and I still know every single piece of it by heart. Probably because I've listened to it so many times, but you know, if I've listened to it like a billion times and I still want to keep going back, it's probably because it's just so good. So those are my top 20, 25 favorite Dream Theater songs, but enough about my opinion. I'd love to hear from you. What are your favorite Dream Theater songs, and what are some heavy-hitting songs that you feel like I left out? There's more than a couple. A Change of Seasons, The Spirit Carries On. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you want to hear an instrumental song of mine called Waking Giant, there's a link below. I'm certainly no John Petrucci, but I think it turned out alright. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, there's probably something popping up here you might also like. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you at the next video.